In your book, you talk about environmental obesogens. I've never heard that term before. What does it mean?
So, obesogens are chemicals in the environment that actually drive weight gain. They cause the differentiation of fat cells, or they cause the growth of fat cells. Now, fat cells are complex, okay? You have a certain number, but you can increase that number, especially early on in life. There's a critical period before age 2 where you can actually increase the fat cell number. And once a fat cell is developed, it wants to stay filled.
I mean, we got to pause here just for a second, because I think most people think that when we eat food, we increase the number of fat cells we have.
No, we increase the size of the fat cells we have.
This was I learned this a couple of years ago, and it kind of changed the way I think about a lot of things, including liposuction.
Yeah.
Because with liposuction, you kind of think that you're taking away fat cells that you've added to your body through diet, but actually the fat cells stay the same. They just grow and shrink.
Well, there's also a problem with liposuction as well. There are 3 fat depots, okay, and they're not the same. On the scale, they're the same because you weigh a certain amount, but from a metabolic standpoint, they are not the same. So let's take each of the fat depots separately so that your audience will understand what it is that they're actually concerned about. So the first fat depot is the obvious, what we call subcutaneous or big butt fat.
Belly fat as well?
No, that comes later.
Oh.
That's the second one.
Okay, subcutaneous.
Big butt fat, or does this bathing suit make me look fat?
So are you saying that's good or bad?
It's actually good.
I agree.
It's protective. The more of it, the less likely that you will have metabolic disease. It is the place where your body wants to put excess energy because it's safe. Now, most of us have a certain ability to grow that fat to a certain level before it starts becoming a problem. Eventually, you can overload that subcutaneous fat where you will actually make the fat vacuole, the little pocket of fat within the fat cell, grow so much that it will actually cause the border of the vacuole to decompensate. And now you've spilled the grease into the cell. That will kill the cell, and that will cause inflammatory cells to congregate to try to clean up the grease. And then they secrete proteins called cytokines, which end up causing the metabolic dysfunction. In any case, you can overload your subcutaneous fat, but you have to work at it. So about how much fat does your subcutaneous fat have to grow before you become metabolically ill? On average, about 10 kilos, 22 pounds, some more, some less. Okay? Now let's take the second fat depot. Belly fat, visceral fat. This fat here.
Everyone's worst type of fat.
Well, yes, but not because of cosmetics, because of metabolism. In any case, the visceral fat, the belly fat, is that due to calories? Is that due to weight gain? That is actually due to cortisol. That's due to stress. And the reason we know that is because you can take patients who have endogenous clinical depression, okay? They are anhedonic. They don't eat because they generate no reward from life. They generate no reward from eating. They are losing weight. They have to be admitted to the hospital to keep them from killing themselves. So these are with people with suicidal ideation who have to be admitted to psychiatric hospitals. You put them in a scanner, and it turns out they're losing subcutaneous fat because they're not eating. They're gaining visceral fat because the cortisol from the stress that goes along with the depression is actually laying down more fat in their belly.
Why?
That's what cortisol does, because when you're stressed, you need a readily available and metabolically active source of energy in case you're being chased by the lion. So that metabolic fat, that visceral fat, is eminently retrievable rapidly.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Okay? Now, how many pounds or kilos of visceral fat do you have to gain before you become metabolically ill?
I'm going to guess it's not a lot based on...
That's right, not a lot.
So subcutaneous was 10 kilograms.
That's right. Now we're talking about 2 kilograms.
Okay, so 2 kind of bags of sugar.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay. Now, finally, the third fat depot, liver fat. Now, how many kilos of liver fat can you accrue before you become metabolically ill?
No, liver's really small. I have no idea.
Okay. 1/4 of a kilo. Half a pound.
And when you become metabolically ill, then all of the dysfunction we talked about previously happens.
That's right. So you can become metabolically ill and be thin because your subcutaneous fat's okay, even your visceral fat's okay. But if you've got liver fat, can you measure 1/4 of a kilo on the scale? No.
Have you heard the phrase skinny fat?
This is skinny fat. So TOFI, T-O-F-I, thin on the outside, fat on the inside. Skinny fat was actually coined by Dr. Jimmy Bell at University College London, a neuroimager. That's exactly right. So just because you're overweight doesn't mean you're sick, and just because you're thin doesn't mean you're healthy. Because of these 3 fat depots, this is exactly what we're talking about.